Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Woman to Woman show where we believe truth plus transparency equals healing. Welcome, beauty flies. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey,
Hey,
everybody.
and everybody.
How are you?
Guys,
Hi, Regina.
Tuning
Hi.
in. Hey, Regina.
Hello.
Your first time tuning in. You're tuned into the Woman to Woman show. I'm Trey Kearney. I have Theodora Carter, Shayla Williams, Regina Booker, and Monetta Fields. And we have coming in Sheila Isom. When she gets here, she'll be hosting with us tonight. And we come on every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to share with you woman things, the Woman to Woman show, just things that people don't talk about. We come here to nourish, encourage, uplift, and empower you to do whatever it is that your heart desires. And there is nothing that you can't do. So every week when we come in, the first thing we like to do is we like to start with a moment of gratitude. So we're going to go around the room and just one thing that you're grateful for. Whoever wants to start, that's fine.
I'll go. Oh, as I mentioned to you guys behind the scene, I am grateful for God keeping my niece healthy and safe as she is going to journey on her Broadway uh, stardom. I'm gonna claim it.
Yeah.
She is officially doing a permanent part in the play, the musical Dear Evan Hansen, and tonight is her official first night. So I know she'll do great, and I just thank God for keeping her throughout this whole season of COVID and so on and so forth. So yes.
And wait a minute, she's the first. Don't leave that out.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. She is the first Black girl to play that role.
Yes.
And because she's an Afro Latina, she's the first Afro Latina as well. So she's making history.
Yes.
Y'all better go, get your ticket and go see her.
That's it. Come on in, ladies. What are you thankful for, Netta?
That's awesome. I am thankful for confirmation. Um, Yesterday, we were studying a scripture, with God, all things are possible. That was just meditating on that. With God, all things are possible. And then today, I see a message on Facebook from someone who's an entrepreneur saying, I want to encourage every entrepreneur that with God, all things are possible.
Oh,
Then I got a message from someone that I have not heard from in months, just saying, I love you, sis. With God, all things are possible. And then Trey, you posted on Facebook a message from, I think it was 11 years ago or something like that. And at the end, it said, if you can believe, all things are possible. So I am encouraged because I hear God, all things are possible.
amen, amen, amen. Come on now. We're going to go to church tonight. Come on, Regina. What are you thankful for?
I am thankful for um it's funny because I have been in a battle the last 2 or 3 days. Um I'm ready to leave this corporate world. So with Netta saying all things are possible because I just can't do it no more. So I gotta get a path of how I'm going to make a plan of executing in the next 2 years. Cause I can't. I
Okay,
can't.
well, we need to get together so we can get that plan popping.
Mhm.
That's
So all things are possible. That's when you said that. That's more confirmation as I'm in the right pathway.
right. Come on, Theo. What are you thankful for?
I am thankful for Netta's confirmation that all things are possible. I am thankful for Regina's confirmation that it's time to leave the corporate world. And I am thankful for another year on earth that God
Yes.
has sent me with 56 years. 56 years on earth. I am
Birthday.
thankful.
Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday. I am thankful to be here tonight because we weren't here last Tuesday because mentally the Lord told me to go sit down and shut up. So I'm thankful that I could hear from the voice of the Lord to say, nope, that's not what you're doing today. And to be obedient to the voice to say, okay, God, but I was resistant, like, no, what are you? And I was just like, you know what? my mind was just exhausted, and I was just, again, I'm just thankful for the space that I am in my life to hear God and to be okay and obedient when it doesn't feel good to me. Like when I feel like, no, I'm going to do this, and he says, no, you're not. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not. So I am thankful also, as usual, every week that these lovely beauty flies are here to pour into the people. And tonight, our topic is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's not a topic. We are just bringing awareness that it is Mental Health Awareness Month and that your mental health matters. So let's start with one. I just want people who are listening right now to understand that your mental health is just as important as your physical health, right? Because we get so caught up in the physical, like my stomach hurts, or my arm, or my back, or my head, or I have acid reflux, or whatever. We get so caught up in the physical that we forget that the mental is usually the reason why we have the physical ailments. And Netta, I see you nodding.
It's absolutely important. Usually, we respond to the thing that speaks the loudest, and that can be physical. But like you said, that mental can express itself in physical symptoms. So being aware of yourself, spending time getting to know who you are, how you operate, when things change. Notice when things start to change in the way you speak to those you love. You can be a little more short or curt with your words that you're not normally doing. That's a change that you need to be aware of and trace it back. What's it coming from? We always like to talk about what's the root of it. So I just encourage, just be still and figure out when things start to change. Don't keep pressing forward. Stop, like you say, pause and get a strategy together, because we know pushing forward isn't always best. You just have to pause and figure out the best way to push forward.
So, ladies in the room, I mean, we've all dealt with something, right? And we're quick to dismiss our mental. We really are. Like, I just got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I want Theo to come in next and just talk about, because Theo has dealt with some functional depression, and during that season of dealing with that, what were some of the signs that you were actually, because you were still moving and shaking, what were some of the signs that you were functionally depressed?
I mean, because I was getting up every day, I was going to work. I mean, it is crazy because I actually planned like a whole birthday weekend, right? Where I was out and about and hanging out and doing stuff. But I would get home, I would take off my clothes, I would crawl in the bed, I would crawl up into a ball. I would either cry myself to sleep or I would quote a scripture to go to sleep. Whether it was, God heals the brokenhearted, or whether it was vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I think some of the signs were like I was just going through the motions, like I was participating. I wasn't participating in life, right? I was just existing, right? I was doing the things that I needed to do, right? I had to go to work because I needed to pay my bills, right? I needed to keep a roof over my head. So I was going to work, but I couldn't wait to get home. Like I would get there and I couldn't wait till it was the end of the day so I could come home so I can get in bed. I would go out. I couldn't wait till I could get home so I could get in the bed or just sit on the couch. And like I was having, and I don't even want to say it was a pity party because it was more than a pity party. I was angry. I was sad. I was disappointed. I just had so many emotions, but I was tired. I think I was like mentally and emotionally tired.
That's so good. That is so good. If you're listening right now, we're talking about your mental health matters. And we were talking about just functional depression, right? If you were just, Theo just said something that might have clicked to some people who are listening right now and to those who are listening to the replay. She said she was on autopilot. her body was just taking her to work because she knew she had to pay her bills. So her body was getting in the car, driving to the job, doing the job, eating her lunch, coming home, getting in the bed, sitting on the couch, getting up, going to sleep, getting up in the morning, driving to her job, doing the same. She was just on autopilot, and that's not healthy. When you are on autopilot, that should trigger something in your brain that I am not mentally healthy, and some other things that can cause you to have for your mental wellness to not be so well. Because we don't want to say mental illness, even though mental illness is real. We don't like to speak things into existence or put it in the atmosphere. Some things that may be affecting your mental wellness is overwhelm. When you are overwhelmed, it is time to pause. So Regina, last week or the week before last, we talked about hair loss. It might have been 2 weeks ago, but we talked about hair loss. And Sheila talked about it, and you talked about it, how you had to, finally cut your hair. How was that for you mentally, and how did you overcome that?
Well, mentally, when I cut my hair, because it's something that I've been wanting to do for maybe 2 years, but because, your hair is your crown, you're this, you're that. And for health reasons, I needed to, because I had dreads and my hair is baby fine soft. So it was really, the pull of it was too much. So it was actually damaging my hair more than helping my hair. So I got to a point when September of 21, I had such a horrible month. And my hair appointment was September 30th. I had got through everything. I had completed everything. God got me through that month. And I just went in and I said, you know what? It's time for a change. I didn't look back. I stopped and I said, cut it all off. And when it cut it all off, it's like layers just fell off. Layers just fell off. Now, it's still a journey. I'm still going through it. But by doing that, it just felt like I'm not my hair. I'm absolutely not my hair. I'm more than my hair. And which was a good feeling. And then when Sheila talked about it, it made me embrace it more, because she made me, because I was going to go find a wig and go do this. And I might, for certain occasions, but I'm just authentically me, and you accept me how I am.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We go through things when there's drastic change in our life. We go through things. And Shayla, I'm going to bring you on next, because I know along this journey you lost your mom, right? And that is really, like, I lost my mom too, and that's a whole different type of mental anguish. So when you were on that journey of your mom not being here anymore, and you had those mentally frustrating situations, because most of us, the first person we go to is our mother. Like, if we have a decent relationship, the first mom, the job, the man, this. How did you mentally maintain your mental wellness?
Well, at the time that my mom, first let me talk about my relationship with my mom. I
Yes.
think my mom, I always saw her as she would come home and she would take care of the house, and the washing, the cooking, the cleaning, all of that stuff. And but we didn't have the relationship where I could sit down and say, Mom, this and this and this is happening, because she never felt that she would know what to say to me.
Wow.
That she wouldn't have the proper advice, because I would backtrack. I was just saying to someone else that my mom never thought that she was smart, because she didn't have a formal education. But my mom was one of the smartest people I know. She could have been on that Jeopardy show and won millions of dollars, because she knew all the answers, because she educated herself by watching all these different educational programs. So she was educated, but she didn't see it that way. So I really couldn't go to her to get that kind of advice. But what bothered me, it bothered me, because I knew that she wouldn't be there. And I'm sorry for getting emotional now.
It's okay.
That she wouldn't be there for me if I had kids, to be the grandmother. That she didn't see me get married. She didn't see certain things that she saw my other siblings go through. But one thing I do remember, and I always say that she always told me, is that she saw me come and go with, when I started modeling and acting and all of these things. And, the little bit of travel I started doing at that time, she would always look at me with this admiration.
Oh.
And she would say to me, live your life, do what I couldn't do. It's almost like she was living vicariously through me. And so I still carry that with me. And went through the hair journey also. I had long hair, y'all seen the pictures. But before she passed, it was 2011. She passed in 2012. And in 2011, April, I did the first big chop, and I cut all my hair off. And, people were like, don't do it. Why would you do it? Someone even said to me, oh, you're not going to find a husband if you cut your hair off. My response was like, look, honey, I had the hair long and I'm still single. So cutting my hair ain't going to do it. And if that's the only reason he going to marry me, then I don't want to marry him. So, I remember walking in the room, and at that point she was nonverbal. And I walked in the room and I looked at her and I said, Mom, what do you think? And she looked up at me and she smiled and she reached her hand up to touch my hair. And I knew that was her approval. And after that, I didn't care what anybody else said. My mama was telling me that I look good. And I did see myself differently. I saw me. I really saw myself. I saw Shayla. And I figured also at that time, there's no hair to cover up who I was, because a lot of people knew me, for the light skin, pretty girl, the thing. So there was no hair. Now you had to see me. You had no choice.
I know
That's right. And so, but it was a journey mentally to go through that. And after seeing what she went through and learning, about the illness, I firmly believe is that because of all of the trauma that she went through, that she kept inside, affected her physically. And so I was determined to not do that.
Come on. Listen.
Sorry.
And we said, it's okay. Listen, we said this from the beginning. Our mental health is the cause of a lot of our physical ailments. Our mental health is the cause of a lot of our physical ailments. Like Shayla said, the things that her mother suppressed, it will attack your immune system. Like if you don't let things out, this is what mental wellness is about. It's about letting things out. It's about getting help. It's about being healthy mentally. We're so busy at the gym, and the gym is good for mental wellness when you are aware of the fact that you're not going for physical release, you're going for mental release, right? Because Theo works out. There's some things in you that need to be released. Go ahead, Theo.
I was going to say, I think that's the thing that people need to really hear is a lot of the things that we do are to mask or to not deal with the stuff that's going up here, right? So you think I'll work out and it'll make me feel better, and it will, but that's for a moment, that's momentary, right? You think I'll go and hang out with some friends and I'll feel better, but that's just like for a moment in time. And so I think the most important thing that people need to understand is that the more we mask, right, what's really going on up here, the more it begins to like really affect your body, right? Because some people might not sleep well, right? Some people may have stomach problems. Some people may have back problems, right? Some people may get headaches, right? It all manifests in your body. And when we continually ignore things, right? Like we cover up so much with our physical, right? Like the wig, the weave, the crochet braids, right? The $100, $300 pocketbooks and the red bottoms and all of this other stuff that we think are gonna make a difference. But if you don't deal with what's going on up here, eventually your body's gonna give out on you.
Lord have mercy. Come on now, ladies. Listen, them pocketbooks and them red bottoms and them Birkin bags and them fur coats, if you are not dealing with the internal no matter what you put on the external, it is not going to help. And we could talk about this all day. Let me tell you something. And this is no shame, no shade to anybody, because I don't, people get to make decisions for themselves. But when we look at these women out here who are getting plastic surgery and butt lifts and big lips and tummy tucks and snatch waist and boobs pushed up and they 100 pounds soaking wet, and they still keep going and getting surgery. It's the soul that needs a surgery.
Yes.
It is not, I don't care if you pinch, pull, staple, weave, makeup, paint, spray paint. I don't care what you do. If you don't get that soul right, if you don't get that mind right, it's going to continue to show up. Sheila, we are so glad that you are here. We were just talking about the hair journey and how that affected Regina mentally. Talk a little bit about mental wellness when it comes to those changes coming that you don't have control over.
Well, I think it stems from, being able, starting, number one is having confidence in yourself. And it's not an easy process to gain, because, we talk a lot about our hair as our crowning glory. We will make fun of each other because of the size of our forehead, the thickness of our brow, whether or not we've got sideburns or edges, how much of the kitchen is there, and if the kitchen is nappy. So it takes a lot of building up a wall so that doesn't bother you, right? And then you start saying to yourself, well, how is it going to change me as a person? How are people going to look at me, and what is my response going to be to that? How am I going to be able to withstand all the criticism? Am I strong enough to withstand all the criticism and the looks? And then you just go from there to, well, why do I care? How is that going to put food on my table? How is that going to make my son happy, my husband still love me and still want to be around me? What matters most to me? I found that one of the ways that's making it easier for me is to just openly talk about it. When I will build it into a conversation, because like I said, I have a phenomenal stylist, and even before I really started wearing weaves more often, I was still able to kind of sort of cover it up, and people would compliment me on my hair. And then one day I just made the conscious decision to start saying, yeah, well, you know what? I have alopecia, so you can't even tell that I don't have any hair up there, can you? And they're like, no, they don't. But girl, let me get that stylist phone number. And then they will quickly change the subject. So that just made it easier. So I actually started integrating it into certain conversations. And now I'm at the point where I actually start talking. It's like I'm going through the stages myself. So my now stage is to start gearing people up to the fact that at some point I'm cutting it all off. I'm going to go bald. And that's a lot. And it's more so for me to build up my strength to be able to actually do it. I have more admiration for bald women now, because I know that at some point it's going to be me. So it's a matter of, realizing that it is about the inner beauty more so than the outer beauty.
Wow. See, we are all, each person here, every one of us, every beauty fly is going through something. Something may not be as extreme as this person or extreme as that person. I got a head full of hair. I got other stuff going on, right? That I got to talk about. And one of the things that Sheila said that is so very important is when you don't talk about the big pink elephant in the room, it weighs on your mental, right? When I walk in the room with Jermaine and Jermaine's making noise or he's flapping. If you don't know, Jermaine is my soon to be 13-year-old on Friday, who's on the autism spectrum, and he's nonverbal, but he makes noise. So at one point in my life, it was stressful for me because I had to walk into these rooms, right? Like Sheila said, listen, the edges is going. I'm sooner or later I'm gonna have to walk in here with a bald head. And we stay in the what if people, or what happens if. Finally at some point I said he has autism. Like, and when somebody looked, I would be like, he has autism. He's on the spectrum. So this is stemming. He's stemming. There's a lot of sensory things going on, and this is how he centers himself back into his own body from being overwhelmed. And people are like, oh my goodness, I have a nephew that has autism, or my sister's son. You know, do you think she should get him checked? And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, well, this is good. Maybe I should have said something. So let's talk about just asking for help. Like, what are some things that why do you think, Netta, why do you think that we don't ask for the help that we need? Why do you think we think internally that we have to do this by ourselves?
I think part of it has to do with not being comfortable with who you are and confident, as Sheila just spoke about. Once you know who you are and how you are created, it's not about pleasing other people. Once we release ourselves from that weight, that in and of itself is a weight, because you will never please everyone. So once you release yourself from that, then it's easier to find your right people, because everybody ain't your right people.
Say that again.
You have to find your right people. Everybody just can't fit in that space. Like you used to talk about, Trey, everybody can't have a seat at the table. So that lets you know there's limited bandwidth for us to be able to handle all these personalities and so forth. Everybody is just not, they don't fit with you. They don't mean you well. I need people who are going to fight with me, not against me. So just having the right people can help you open up. And then once you're transparent, you realize they're struggling too. So you don't have anything to prove to anybody. Release the pressure of trying to please everyone. And I understand this. When you try to control everything, that is where the pressure comes from.
Come on now. Come on. Just talk a little bit about that. Because we're really talking about mental wellness, and trying to control everything is a stressor. Please.
Yeah. We can't control everything. And once you come to that realization, just let it fall where it may. You can only control you, your decisions, your acts, and your response to what's going on around you. So once we get in control and get centered on who we are and whose we are, and knowing that you are not alone, connecting with your right people, that releases so much of the overwhelm. Sometimes it's self-created overwhelm.
Not the self-created overwhelm. See, you just stepped on my toes, right? And I always call it, we're in the weeds of the what ifs. What if this happens? What if they say this? What if they look at me like that? What if my eyebrows are not right? Or what if we have to get out of the weeds of the what ifs? Anybody here struggle with anxiety? Anxiety is real. My niece struggles with a lot of things. She goes to the therapist. She's done a lot of work on herself, but Black people, let me say this to the Black folks, please. Let me say this to the Black folks. Let me put my thing on big so Black folks can hear this. Black people, anxiety is real. When your family member comes to you and they're having some issues with their mental wellness, don't dismiss them, right? This is what we do as Black people. Girl, ain't nothing wrong with you. Get your whole entire life together. Go to church. Oh, she's a drama queen. Oh, it's always something with her. Oh, ain't nothing wrong with her. Oh, and these are people who have been diagnosed by a professional. But as Black people, we have been conditioned and raised to say, go pray. And yes, please do go pray. We do be needing to go pray. But faith without works is dead. God created therapists for a reason, because he knew some of us were going to struggle with some mental issues. So please, can we please, when somebody says, I'm suffering from anxiety, or I am overwhelmed, or I am exhausted, or I'm dealing with functional depression, can we not dismiss it? Can we make it normal to hear that person out as Black people? So I want you guys to come in, and has anybody dealt with anxiety? Because once I felt anxiety, right? After Jermaine had his seizure, like, oh my God, anxiety is real. Because I'm gonna be totally transparent. I was one of them people like, people always talking about they got anxiety, ain't nothing wrong with you. But once I experienced it, I knew that it was a real thing. And there's certain triggers for people who have anxiety when they've experienced some sort of trauma, right? So come on in, ladies.
So I had an experience many, many years ago with an ex, and I didn't know what was happening to me. He thought I was faking it, but I think I don't remember what the conversation was that we were having, but we were in the car, and all of a sudden my breathing started to change. And then I started feeling tingling in my fingertips, and I felt like I was going to pass out. Now, he panicked and drove past about 2 hospitals to get to my best friend's house. And she knew what to do because she had experienced passing out. So she had some smelling salt and whatever that is, and brought me to her husband at the time, came in, he picked me up, took me inside, and they nursed me back to feeling better. But I had no idea that I had an anxiety attack. I found that out afterwards. And I was like, whatever it was that we were talking about, I don't remember the conversation because it was such a long time ago, but I do remember how I felt and what my body did in that moment, that I was having that anxiety attack. And after that, I became aware of, whatever situation was coming my way, any arguments or any discussions or any disagreements, whatever it was, that if I felt that I was, my breathing was changing, then I knew it was time to end that conversation and take it up another time or something like that. So
Well, thank you for your transparency, because that anxiety is real. You will be out of breath, like, and you will think you're having a heart attack. Like,
I thought I was gonna pass out. Like, I think I passed out because she had the smelling salt. So I did pass out. Yeah.
yeah, anxiety is real. Anybody else experience the anxiety or overwhelm to where you just couldn't pull yourself back in that moment? No? I'm the only one that experienced it, me and Shayla. Well, that's good. I'm glad. I'm really glad, because it is a very overwhelming feeling to feel like you're out of control of your own body. That's what an anxiety attack is that you lose complete control of the situation that's going on around you. And I just want people to know, like Shayla said, for me now, I feel it sometimes because I still have Jermaine in the house with me, and I'm never going to forget that experience ever, right? So sometimes it shows up when, he's 13. He's going to be 13 on Friday. So he's sitting still more. I'm so used to him jumping around. So now he'll sit on the bed with his iPad, and I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? And Bryce is like, yo, chill. Because like Bryce, my 22-year-old, he told me, like, you need to go back to therapy. Like, you need to talk to somebody about this, because when you're not here, we be chilling. Like, I be on top of Jermaine like all the time. So anybody suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome? Because I know sometimes, let me tell y'all this, sometimes you don't know you suffer from that.
I mean, I don't know if it's PTSD. I know that I am triggered when I hear someone losing someone suddenly, right? And that's because of how I found my father, right? Like, I walked into his apartment and found him dead, right? And so, like, when your brother, the motorcycle accident, right? That, like, I literally kind of felt your pain. Like, I felt it without even talking to you. Like, I experienced it. Like, I relive, right, that moment. Like, I could go through everything that happened that night, walking in the door, calling the police, the fire department coming, the EMS coming, having to wait for the medical examiner, like every single thing, right? Like, and so for me, that is something that I've had to learn how to control, right? I've had to learn how to take a step back and realize that, you know what? Stop, right? Like, stop. Like, it's gonna be okay.
Yes, that's that trauma. But Theo, that's the trauma, that everyday life trauma that all of us has been through something that triggers us. I don't care if you had a baby that was 7 months old and choked on this milk. I don't care if you had a child who was 3 that choked on a cheese stick. When you see a 3-year-old outside and they don't look right to you, you go right back to that your 3-year-old, like, oh my God, is that child choking? And the mother's like, excuse me, like, move on. Netta, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, when I first moved away from home, my first, on my own time, I was attacked in the parking lot.
Oh.
I was going to my apartment, and there was a pathway to get to my apartment from the street. So I had to park on the street and walk to the apartment. Well, walking to the apartment, I just heard something behind me. When I turned around, the guy was there and grabbing me.
Oh my God.
And I was much smaller than, like you said, soaking wet, 100 pounds maybe. And he grabbed me, and I grew up with boys, so I knew what I needed to do. So I punched like the tip of his nose. I wanted to try and drive it as far up as I could get with the palm of my hand. And he had glasses on. And once I did that, and I was screaming, I was right by apartment doors. Nobody came out.
Wow.
And so once I hit him, he couldn't see. And he ran. And when I turned around, he had left the passenger door open.
Wow.
Because he was going to push me in.
Oh.
So anytime I hear something behind me, it's better now. But nothing can happen quickly behind me without going to that moment. That is traumatic. The whole process, he stole my keys. So I didn't have car keys. I didn't have apartment keys. It was just craziness.
Wow.
But praise God, I'm alive to talk about it. But at the same time, you don't forget those things. And with that, it's impacted my parenting. I'm very much aware and alert and want to know where my children are, especially if it's late. Those things play in your mind. So having control of your mind is so important, and reminding myself this is not happening.
Yes.
You need to just pause. This is not happening right now. You literally have to talk yourself out of the spiral because it can happen quickly.
Yes. You know why I love this? Because most people that suffer from mental illness or have struggles with their mental health is because they've been through something traumatic, whether it affects your parenting, whether it affects even people who have grown up in poverty, right? And they have really good jobs and they have a lot of money and they won't spend any of it. You're like, girl, you loaded. And they, in their mind, is, I'm never going to be poor and broke because we didn't have toilet paper when I was growing up. That is, I'm telling you, we just don't be realizing we have PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, because we don't think about those little things that has affected us mentally growing up in a home, even with parents dysfunction. My mother was dysfunctional. My mother was an alcoholic and had drug issues. That triggers me relationship wise. It's gotten me to a point where I don't want to deal with you even if it looks like that to me, and it might not be that. Even if it looks like that, Sheila, I see you making a face. You wanted to say something? You're on mute.
You are so right. It's just even the whiff of something is like an instant trigger, and you automatically will put up your defenses, your guards. Those defense mechanisms automatically kick into gear, and they're great because they can keep you safe, but at the same time it can give you false impression that you're in danger. It can make you think that you are in the wrong situation at the wrong time. It can play along with your psyche, which is one of the reasons why we need to have ways to deal with all of these mental issues. I know one of the things, and I do it, I'm very, very guilty of it. You know, this too shall pass. I can deal with it on my own. But also at the other side of me, I'm saying, yeah, we got to get rid of that stigma about Black folks not going to therapy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with therapy. And sometimes it may not have to be formal. Sometimes you just need to sit down with, you know, someone who's really close, who has some insight. You know, it might be like, look, Netta, I need to bend your ear. Or sometimes, you know, like all of us will get together, like after the show, we'll get together and we'll start talking. That is therapeutic. But trying to beat it on your own is just nothing but dismissing and pushing it away, only for it to surface like a bigger giant.
Come through with that. Go ahead, Theo.
And I was going to say, I think the important thing is something that Netta said, right? Is having the right people, right? Because it's a difference if I'm sitting with you guys and I'm sharing something that I might be going through, right? Like, you know, and because I know you're going to be honest with me. I know you're going to support me. I know you're not going to, you know, dismiss me, but you're going to say, hey, wait a minute, Theo, maybe you need to do this or you need to do that, right? Versus the person that may dismiss you, versus the person that may tell you what you want to hear, right? So I think it's like that piece that Netta said earlier is so, so important, right? You know, for me, it's one, the just being recognizing that you're not okay.
Yes.
And then letting people know, like, it's okay not to be okay. I think I have said this before, right? Like, that was so freeing for me when I was able to say to some of the closest people in my life, listen, I'm not the superwoman y'all all think I am. I got problems too. I get sad too. I'm insecure as well. I got hang-ups, right? I don't have it all together, right? And that was the most freeing moment in my life. But like Sheila said, let me tell you guys, Black people, God made therapists for a reason.
Yes. Yes.
They were made for a reason. That is a profession for a reason.
That is their gift, their talent, and their purpose for being here on earth to serve the people that God assigned to them through their gifts, talents, and experiences. So, on that note, great segue. Netta just texted me too. You know, I'll put you on blast, girl. You know, I'll put you on blast. You know, I share everything. Netta, like, it's time for the therapy card. So let's get our therapy card out, Netta. Come on. If you just tuned in, you're tuned into the Woman to Woman show. Today we are talking about Mental Health Awareness Month. We are talking about your mental health matters. And each week we do a therapy card so that we actually can do exactly what it is that we're talking about, to release something or to share something, so our beauty flies know something about each other that we may be going through and that we just really didn't want to share outright. So Netta, what's our therapy? We be scared. What's our therapy card for the day?
Y'all know I just pull these. There's no going through them first. And I will say this is from Dr. Ebony. She is the developer of these wonderful cards. If you're interested, go to mytherapycards.com and grab yours. So our question is, in what ways has your self-narrative shaped your habits?
Ooh.
In what ways has your self-narrative, what you're telling yourself, how has that shaped your habits? Wow. And then it says, identify ways in which this has impacted your growth, both positively and negatively.
Wow. Read that one more time. And anybody who wants to jump in, please do.
Theo is in deep. In what ways has your self-talk shaped your habits?
Ooh. Whoever wants to come in, come on in.
Well, and then it says, identify ways in which this has impacted your growth, both positively and negatively.
Go ahead, Theo.
I will start because I literally just had this conversation with one of my little sisters. Like, you know, I have a lot of little adopted sisters, where I was saying to her that I am actually in a phase of embracing everything about me, right? Because for so long, like I I think I shared I was 197 pounds at one point in my life. Lost the weight, kept it off, right? And then it started, creeping back on, right? And so, and people will look at me and be like, oh, you don't look heavy or whatever, right? But I really am at a space where I am embracing my hair, right? So crochet braids, like Regina said earlier, right? Yeah, I'm not saying I will never wear them again, but that's what I used to stay in. I was in crochet braids or wigs or whatever because I would look at my natural hair and be like, oh my God, I don't like it, right? And so I would say, I don't know where, but along the way, there was this insecurity about just my looks, right? My weight, my body, my hair, my whatever. And I think that created a narrative for me where I was inventing this person, right? That, in some ways I was comfortable with, and in some ways I wasn't. And now I'm just at a point in my life where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to embrace everything about me, right? The natural me, right? Everything, because I look in the mirror and I say, I didn't see, and this is what I said to my friend, right? I didn't always see what other people saw, right? So when people are like, oh my God, you're beautiful, or guys are like, you're gorgeous, I'd be like, thank you. But in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm all right. I'm average, right? But now I look in the mirror and I'm like, you know what? You are beautiful, right? You know what? Because I'm beautiful not only on the outside, but I'm beautiful inside. And my inner beauty far outweighs, right? Anything that you see on the outside, right? And so I'm even embracing the fact that I am a good, kind person, and it's okay to say that.
That was so good. Oh my goodness. Yes. Who's next? Come on in.
All right. I had to write it down. and as Theo was speaking, formulating, my thoughts. And so I think one of the things that I said to myself for a long time without even realizing I was saying it to myself was that I wasn't good enough. That I wasn't good enough, and I didn't have anything of value to add. And so that turned into me overcompensating by, giving much more of myself to people who didn't deserve much more of myself. So, I had to come to realize, like Theo said, that I am more than good enough. I have plenty to offer. And beauty is, like Theo said, it's from what is on the inside and not on the outside. We are going to, at some point, deteriorate physically. And so what people will remember is how we treated them and how we made them feel. So, I think that's where I was and where I would be.
I love that she said the habit that it created for her, and that this is so good. The habit that it created for her was overcompensating. That was a habit based on I'm not good enough. So my habit is to walk in a room and overcompensate and people please everybody so that they'll think that I'm enough. I love that. I love how this question is shaped. You know what I'm saying? Because we do tell ourselves stuff. Regina, you wanted to come in?
Yes, this is woo, that's a loaded question. And I'm thinking, I'm like, wow. I too didn't think I was good enough. I was a dreamer. And so I dreamt of all these things I was going to be, going to do, but didn't act on them. A lot of them. And now, as I have in the last, I would say, ever since the Beauty Fly started, I've been flourishing and doing things. And to me, the narrative starts now.
Come on now.
So I no longer think of, and it's a struggle. I get through it every day. It's what am I going to do today, right now? That's the narrative. And we're going to get to the place we need to be. I can no longer think about what I didn't do. That's gone. So that what I used to do, I'm not doing anymore. And the reason I said that this corporate world earlier, because my manager came to me 2 days ago, and I said, you know what? And she didn't say nothing terribly wrong, but I knew that was it. So right now I got to change because I'm not going to be there anymore because that narrative stopped. That corporate world's got to stop. Something else got to go because I got to be happy, and that's just not it. So,
I know that's
so I take anything. And one other thing I wanted to say about the hair, I wanted to mention my son that doesn't like when I first cut my hair, he was like, Mom, why did you do that? You know, da 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 da. So every time he sees me now, he says, Mom, your hair, I see your face. I see your features. You look good. I said, you like my hair? He said, I don't like short hair, but I see you. And
oh
that meant such a compliment. He says, it brings out everything. So that was like, it was like a covering. So to hear your child say it, and a male child, because for some reason men like long hair and all this is crazy, but that's what they do. But
yes,
but the features, so I took it as you see me, you
yes.
see your mom. And so that's another thing. When you go through a hair journey, sometimes that's what will happen. So I wanted to mention that as
I
well.
love that. I love what you said, Gina. What I'm not my self-talk is telling me what I didn't do back then.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't do back then, but I'm not doing that anymore
Right,
because my narrative starts today.
right.
I'm going to leave what I didn't do back then somewhere else for somebody else to beat their self up. So I love that. Sheila?
Um, for me, it was buying into the myth that I can be a superwoman.
Mm.
I can do it all, do anything I wanted to do, and do everything I wanted to do all at the same time. That I can multitask with my eyes closed, which is um, now the total opposite of me getting to the point in my life where I just want to sit back and enjoy who I am. Because now I'm finding that because I always thought that I could do everything and you know multitask, that I can very quickly become unfocused. I can very quickly become disinterested, and that plays into the part where I'm at a point in my life where if I don't want to be bothered by something, I'm not. So if I don't want to be around it, I'm not going to pay attention to it, and I am not going to be focused on any negative energy. And if I don't want to do it, if I don't like it, then I'm not going to do it. So being disinterested, being unfocused now has kind of dispelled that superwoman myth, because I can't, because on top of everything, I'm realizing too, I'm tired.
Oh,
I'm tired of trying to be everything to everyone. And oftentimes, don't be mistaken, it's self imposed, right? Isn't that what we were talking about, Netta? It's self imposed, right? Because half the time, nobody's asking me to do anything, but I insert myself in there.
uh-oh.
And I have to learn that I need to step back, because then that plays in that peace of mind that I'm talking about. I always want. How can I have peace of mind when I'm not minding my mind?
Oh, wow. Wow, wow. Whoa, whoa. How you step on your own toes. That's how you step on your own toes. But I love that you said, I am enjoying who I am. And I must say that this time that we've been together in this mastermind, because that's what we're doing. We're masterminding to the levels of new levels in our lives. And we've all accomplished so much since we started, which is amazing. And it's showing on the outside. Let me say that y'all look fabulous, right? It's showing on the outside. Theo, when you came on today with your little shoulder out, I said, well, damn, is Theo going on a date after this? Because she came on here all cute hair, natural hair. I said, Maybe Theo didn't tell her she got a boyfriend or something. I don't know. I thought when I first saw you, and then Jermaine distracted me, but I was like, she got on her little sexy shoulder shirt, hair done. And it's natural though. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then everybody came on and you guys are glowing from the inside out. You guys have become comfortable. When we first started, I mean, this was thrown on y'all, first of all. Y'all gonna be co-hosts. And I don't care. But anyway, for you guys to come here and show up every week like, oh, I'm good with this. Okay. The confidence is on 99.99999. So I just want to tell y'all look fabulous. Sheila came with the red lipstick the other day, like boom. Like, I don't know what y'all think this is. She got her little sexy glasses on. I see y'all. No, I see. You might not see yourself though. Sometimes, you don't see, Netta comes in, she's comfortable with the straight hair, the curly hair. There's things she's doing on the back end, growing a business, just to take the leap of not having a 9 to 5. That's one hell of a leap in life at this age. That's a leap for I ain't even gonna cuss, but you know what I'm saying? That's just a leap. And I see y'all and I see the level of comfort in knowing, like Regina said, corporate ain't for me. When she first started, she wouldn't have said that. Regina would have been right there, like, I'm going to go to this job. I'm going to be here forever. I don't have enough. Regina said, the hell with this. Corporate ain't for me. And let's figure this shit out. Seriously, that's a new attitude for her. Like, she was quiet, and I'm not saying she's too much, but quiet back. She would be like, I got to do what I got to do. No, I got to do what I got to do to get me out of here. Because I'm not going to be here somewhere where I'm unhappy and somebody going to come to my desk and I got to look at them and I don't want to see them tomorrow. So I just applaud you guys. Netta, it's your turn. You're not going to get past the therapy card.
I am just grateful for growth. You were just talking about that. I was reflecting on the self-talk that I embraced younger in my life based on experiences growing up in the South. And whether it was verbalized or not, the implication was, you're not enough. You're not good enough. You won't be able to. And being able to go from that to why not?
Oh, somebody better hashtag and tweet that. Why not?
Because what God has for me is for me. He created me with a purpose that only I can fulfill. So I can now just be in that space. And I wrote down, self-talk is very different than reflection, self-reflection and introspection. So I think as I've aged, just really getting clear on who I am, what my purpose is, and being okay with me. And it's okay if people don't want to align with me, because there are people who do. So, that whole trying to please, like Shayla was saying, I am a huge giver, but it can be abused by me.
Ooh.
Not because somebody is asking me, as Sheila was saying, because giving is always part of who I am. Sometimes I put myself out on the back burner because I've overextended. So just being clear and the growth, I'm so appreciative that my narrative has changed. And it's more about just a deeper purpose versus just doing and not being.
I love y'all so much. Oh my, yes. Yes. Shayla said, you didn't drop the mic, girl. You didn't drop the mic. So my self-talk is a little different, of not thinking that I'm not enough, but from the thought in my head, from people putting this thought in my head. Remember, you know what? Self-talk comes from hearing or thinking what other people are thinking or what other people have said to you, which along my journey, because I am out there. Like, I'm an out there person. Y'all know I'm an out there person, but I'm really shy. But anyway, we talk about that on the back end when we hang up with these folks. My self-talk was, you're doing too much, which held me back from my greatness for many years. Because when I walk in the room, or when people who are around me that were not my tribe, right, that were not my people, that were not my cheerleaders, would say things like, you're doing too much, or make me feel like, all right, let me shrink back because I'm making people in the room feel small. I had to tell myself, that's not your responsibility to shrink back so other people can shine. You're doing yourself a disservice, but more than anything, you're doing God a disservice. Every time you close your mouth because you feel like somebody's light is being dimmed because your light is bright. What's that saying? When, if you light somebody else's candle, it doesn't dim your light. Well, me shining doesn't dim anybody else's light. And I had to tell myself that, so I was able to operate in who I am supposed to be wholeheartedly, right? I'm the big hair, yup. Before I would be like, no, I don't want my hair to be too big. Let me pull it back. Let me straighten it. Let me to deflect from me. No, I am here. I am supposed to be here. I am supposed to be doing what I'm doing, and I am not doing too much, because everything that I'm doing is to advance the kingdom. Because everything that I'm doing is to uplift, motivate, and empower another person. And if that's doing too much, guess what? Guess who's going to be doing too much? ME. And that's all I got to say about that.
But I think that's important, right? Like everything that we said comes down to, what is self-talk? It is that story that we make up in our head, right?
Yes.
And so we walk around and we make up these stories in our head about how people are going to feel about us and how people are going to think about us, when sometimes they're not even paying any attention to us.
That's
So
it.
we have to make up this story that then becomes our reality, that then impacts our mental, that has us spiraling and fretting and worrying and out of control, right? And then our reality is, we just need to stop making up the stories in our heads and embrace who we were created to be, right? Because we all were created and fearfully and wonderfully made.
That's it. So thank y'all for tuning in. We can go on and on, but you got to come back next week if you want some more of this, because we got more. And again, we came today because we wanted to bring awareness to Mental Health Awareness Month. We wanted you to know that your mental health matters. Don't just pay attention to your physical health. Pay attention to what your brain is doing. Pay attention to how your body is reacting to different things, how you're responding to people. Pay attention. And before we go, I just wanted to share the suicide hotline number in case you are feeling mentally frustrated, exhausted, that you're at the end of your rope. Nobody cares. I'm by myself. I can't do this. Your mental health matters. You matter. If nobody else told you today, you matter to all 6 of us. If nobody else told you today, you matter to God. If nobody else told you today, your life matters. We want you here. Call 1-800-273-8255 if you need help. The suicide hotline is confidential. Nobody will know your business. If any of us here resonated with you, if you felt the love, the power from us, and you need to inbox one of us, we ain't gonna talk you through it because we are not professionals, but we will get on the line with you with the suicide hotline. If you need support, we are here for you. You are not alone. We are really, really big on helping our sisters and brothers to be okay. Like Theo said, it's okay not to be okay. What's not okay is for you not to say something, to ask for the help that you deserve. You belong here. If you woke up this morning, there's still purpose in your body. If the Lord breathed breath into your lungs, you're here for a purpose, and we want you here. So if you need help, again, call 1-800-273-8255. Or if you felt comfortable with what one of us was saying, please feel free to reach out. We will walk with you. We will walk beside you. We will walk behind you. We will walk in front of you. We want to see every man and woman on here be healthy mentally as well as physically. Thank you for tuning in too. We don't tune into the Woman to Woman show. We don't take it lightly. To be in your privilege, to be in your life is a privilege. We appreciate you allowing us in your space. Follow us on Instagram, W2W Show, W2W Show. Follow and subscribe to the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. And don't forget to share, because sharing is caring. Again, we believe that truth plus transparency equals healing. Remember, you are only as sick as your secrets. It's healing time. See you next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Woman to Woman Show on the New You Nation Network. I love you, beauty flies.
Good night.
Love you. Good night.
Sister, I need to walk with me on this journey. Yes, hold me accountable, 'cause sometimes I need to know the truth. Sister, I love you. We're one in the same cause we're sharing the pain of the world as we know it to be. Sister, I need you to walk with me on this journey. Yes, hold me accountable, 'cause sometimes I need to know the truth.